9 Flames Sovereign Chapter 51, Open Source Flower. The trial of the people in the city family, the so-called battle for hegemony among more than 100 families, but in fact, it is only the few elites of the 3 families who can really get ahead. Is the 3 major families, and many geniuses can seize more than 10 tokens. Most of the geniuses of the family, being able to protect their tokens from being robbed, are already burning incense, and most of them are empty-handed or even killed. Following a certain trace, Han Feng soon met many people again. After a day of contention, more than half of the people have no tokens in their hands. Han Feng met more than a dozen people, only one of them had 3 tokens in his hand, and the others were empty. Han Feng couldn't help frowning. It's really bad luck today. If this continues, I may not be able to collect 100 yuan today. Even if tomorrow is the last day, the battle will be more intense. As long as one person is fighting, there will be several or even nearly 10 tokens, and it will not be guaranteed to be the first. It's going to be a little harder today. Shuttle between the mountains. Suddenly, Han Feng's eyes narrowed. In a secret location at the root of a giant tree, Han Feng found the mark. This mark, isn't Han Lin designed his own mark? I remember Han Lin showed off to me before. In this Yufeng mountain range, he is not afraid to leak his trace. Although this mark is very secret, it is estimated that no one but me will know. Wait, except me. Maybe. Han Feng stood up suddenly, his face stern, and began to look for marks around him. Not long after, Han Feng looked solemnly. Sure enough, these marks are telling me that Han Lin is in trouble and needs my help. In this Yufeng mountain range, except for level 3 and 4 monsters, only the Chong family can hurt Han Lin. We must hurry to find him. Following the mark, Han Feng quickly followed. On the way, Han Feng's face was cold, because on the way, Han Feng found several blood stains. Subconsciously, Han Feng linked the bloodstain to Han Lin. If the blood is Han Lin's injury is serious now. You must find Han Lin quickly. Realizing that Han Lin was injured, Han Feng consciously collected herbs to stop bleeding and heal the wound on the road. About an hour later, Han Feng found Han Lin in a cave covered by grass. At this moment, Han Lin's abdomen was full of blood, his face was pale, and he fell into a coma. Han Feng did not dare to neglect, and immediately healed the herbs and covered Han Lin's wound. Sitting cross-legged next to Han Lin, Han Feng guarded Han Lin and waited for Han Lin to wake up. Han Feng wanted to know how Han Lin was injured and whether the murderer was really Chong Wenhua. This is more than 3 hours of effort. Han Lin woke up leisurely and saw someone next to him vaguely, but Han Lin did not sense the danger, and he sighed with relief. Is it Han Feng? The moment Han Lin woke up, Han Feng also ended his training, and immediately stepped forward to help Han Lin. Han Lin's head became sober now. He saw Han Feng clearly and smiled weakly. Great, you are finally here. Han Feng said solemnly. Han Lin, what is going on? Is it Chong Wenhua? I don't know. Han Lin shook his head. No. Immediately, Han Lin showed resentment. It is Hong Xingbao of the Hong family and other members of the Hong family. Among them are the first geniuses of the Li family and the Yu family under the Hong family. Han Feng couldn't help being surprised. Is it them? Han Feng puzzled. We have just reached an alliance with the Hong family. We are going to resist the Chong family together in this family trial. How? Han Lin smiled bitterly. The threat of the Chong family is too great, so our Han family and their Hong family will unite. I'm too careless to say it. It is not enough to be taught by Chong Wenjun once, and I always subconsciously ignore people's hearts. We are united well, but when faced with certain interests, greed always makes some people betray. Anyway, as long as I die, no one knows that Hong Xingbao and the others have done such a thing, then our Han family will still stupidly join the Hong family. Han Feng frowned. Benefits. Could it be that you found something amazing? Han Lin nodded. Yes, near the core of the Yufeng mountain range, Hong Xingbao and I discovered Kaiyuan flower. Open source flowers. Han Feng's eyes were round. Open source flower produces 9 petals at a time. Each petal can not only help open up the main vein, but also speed up the process of condensing internal energy into attribute qi. 9 petals are enough to make the existence that has just stepped into the late stage of the ordinary stage condense more than half of the attributes in a short time. Han Feng's eyes are shining, and the petals of the open source flower can save him a lot of time and effort in this stage of the later stage. Soon, Han Feng frowned again. Han Lin discovered the open source flower with Hong Xingbao. Han Lin was injured. Isn't it because Hong Xingbao got the open source flower? Mong Yufeng Mountain Range, if Hong Xingbao consciously hid, it would be really difficult to find it out. Han Lin saw what Han Feng was thinking, and smiled. Don't worry, Kaiyuanhua also has Guardians of Warcraft. Yu reading www.yuakanshu.com is in a pool near Kaiyuanhua. If it hadn't been for the sudden attack on the Guardian monster, I might die there. Hong Xingbao is a warrior who has opened up the peak of the 6 main veins. Han Feng was surprised. The peak of the 6 main veins. I remember that Hong Xingbao's aptitude is not as good as yours. It is barely the 5th grade, and if it is weaker, it is the 6th grade. Han Lin said angrily. The Hong family obviously spent most of its resources on Hong Xingbao, otherwise, where would Hong Xingbao's internal strength cultivation exceed me? Except for Hong Xingbao, there are very few others in the Hong family who even get through the 3 main lines. If this is not the case, Hong Xingbao is entangled by the guardian beast. Where can I escape so easily, leaving a mark along the way? After speaking, Han Lin stood up with support. Although the monster is powerful, it is not in the category of the 4th level monster. It is close to the peak in the late 3rd level period. Hong Xingbao and the others have no way to protect the monster in a short time, but it takes a long time. But it's hard to say. I will take you there. Han Feng looked at Han Lin worriedly. Can you do it? With your current injury, I'm afraid that even the mid-phase of the main vein is not an opponent. Han Lin gritted his teeth. What's this, Hong Xingbao's dog thing? If he gets the open source flower, I really want to vomit blood. When Han Feng saw this, he couldn't say anything. He had to let Han Lin lead the way, and Han Feng, like Han Lin, was unwilling to let the open source flower fall into the hands of Hong Xingbao. Yufeng Mountain is close to the core, and a dozen people headed by Hong Xingbao looked at the Kaiyuan flower near Chidan with scorching eyes. The Yufeng Mountain range was close to the core, and several people headed by Hong Xingbao looked at the open-source flowers near Chidan with scorching eyes. Hey, the two-tailed water snake was injured by us before, this time we can kill it. On both sides of Hong Xingbao, there are 2 elites of the same Hong family, and they look worried at the moment. The Yujia elite on the other side smiled wryly. Although the two-tailed water snake was injured, they also paid the price. The Li family elite has been bitten off by the double-tailed water snake. There were nearly 10 people with Han Feng, but now there are only 4 people left. The Jade family elite did not know whether it was his turn to die this time. For Hong Xingbao, as long as he obtains an open-source flower, everything can be sacrificed, right? At this moment, Hong Xingbao's expression suddenly changed, and he sneered in a certain direction. Who is it? Huh, it's me. Han Lin walked out slowly. Hong Xingbao laughed. Unexpectedly, you did not wait for us to find you, but you came here by yourself. The other 2 members of the Hong family are also unkind. Their Hong family has already joined forces with the Han family to fight against the Chong family. If Han Lin is informed of this incident today, the alliance will be broken. They will also be reprimanded by the family. In order to avoid these, I had to kill Han Lin to avoid future troubles. Originally, Hong Xingbao and others were going to seize the open-source flower and looking for Han Lin, but Han Lin himself warned and took the initiative to find it. Han Lin coughed suddenly and violently. Han Lin covered it with his hand. When the palm was spread out, bright red blood appeared in the center of his palm. Seeing this, Hong Xingbao felt that Han Lin had nothing to threaten him. You too went to take Han Lin's life. Although he knew that Han Lin had no threats, Hong Xingbao still let the 2 of them go and didn't plan to do it himself. The 2 were not suspicious, and walked towards Han Lin with a grin. Before they got close to Han Lin, the 2 only felt that a shadow in front of them flickered, and they didn't know anything. Hong Xingbao was surprised and angry. Damn it, I got a helper. This shadow is exactly Han Feng. Hongbo Palm. Hong Xingbao suddenly shot. Although Han Feng killed the 2 at once, Hong Xingbao was a little jealous, but the 2 of them only opened up the 3 main veins, and the realm was not stable. How could he be compared with the warrior at the peak of the 6 main veins? Bone Breaker. Han Feng avoided Hong Xingbao's palm at a weird angle, and then grabbed Hong Xingbao's wrist with his right hand, and the bone-crushing hand suddenly moved. Click, click, click. Hong Xingbao's bones burst instantly. Nose, ears, eyes are overflowing with blood, terrifying. Throwing away Hong Xingbao's body, Han Feng swept the Yu family elite with cold eyes. At this time, the kid from the Yu family was so scared that he urinated his pants, and he was so weak that he couldn't even move. He is an elite in the Yu family, the first genius under the age of 15, but he has only opened up 2 main lines. No matter how this person begged for mercy, Han Feng still killed him. Good job, Han Lin exclaimed. Han Lin hates people like Hong Xingbao who arbitrarily sabotage the alliance for the sake of a mere source of money. If it weren't for his good luck, wouldn't it be a waste of his life? Han Feng walked back to Han Lin, and said as he walked, "The younger generation of the Hong family looks like this, and the older generation is probably not much better. Fortunately, I have a good impression of the old man because of the openness of the head of the Hong family. When you return to the clan, you must be careful not to be used as a gun and finally be treated as an abandoned child." Yes, Han Lin nodded. Killed Hong Xingbao and his party, and the two came near Kaiyuanhua. Han Lin solemnly said, "The inside of Kai Tan is a double-tailed water snake close to the 3rd-level peak. You have to be careful." Han Feng waved his hand and signaled Han Lin to retreat. "Retreat back a little bit, don't be affected. Don't worry, the monsters that are close to the peak in the late stage of the 3rd level are no big deal." Although the double-tailed water snake's trick, Shui Manjinshan, is powerful, it also requires the strength of level 5 monsters to be used. Below level 5, such monsters can't take advantage of it. Some monsters are very good at attribute attacks. However, even the monsters below level 5 can only attack in close quarters. They cannot launch attribute attacks. No amount of powerful tricks can be used, and the damage is limited. Take the 2-tailed water snake and the savage war bear. Below level 5, the savage war bear can tear the 2-tailed water snake with 1 claw. After level 5, the 2-tailed water snake can flood the barbarian war bear with 1 stroke of the water. The barbarian war bear can't even get close to the double-tailed water snake. Even when the double-tailed water snake reaches the level of a monster, a small city will be destroyed with 1 stroke. Because of the limited lethality of the double-tailed water snake below level 5, Hong Xingbao can only use the injury for the injury to persist until now. If it were replaced by a savage war bear, Hong Xingbao and others would have been torn to pieces long ago. Han Feng approached the open-source flower, just as he reached out to pick it. Wow! There was a riot on the surface of Kai Tan, and 2 huge snake tails exploded. Condensing claw power. Han Feng's left and right hands were condensed into a grasp, and he directly inserted the 2 snake tails. Han Feng used force to directly drag the 2-tailed water snake up. The 2-tailed water snake hissed in anger, the snake's head twisted and opened its mouth to swallow Han Feng. Bone breaker. Even if the double-tailed water snake is a monster, it is also a snake. Snakes are vertebrates and have bones. www.mtlnovel.com. After a while, the 2-tailed water snake fell heavily to the ground. Han Feng is another trick of condensing claws, this time it is directly into the head of the double-tailed water snake. In an instant, his head shattered, and the double-tailed water snake was completely perished. Han Lin swallowed without a trace. I heard that this kid killed the savage war bear before. I haven't seen it personally. This time I saw it with my own eyes. It was really shocking. The monster that is close to the 3rd level peak, it is Sister Ru, who can't win without any effort, but this kid. Pervert, pervert. Han Feng turned his head, noticed Han Lin's weird eyes, and touched his head. Why look at me like this? Han Lin's face was expressionless. It's nothing, let's see how metamorphosis was born. Han Feng, gave Han Lin an angry look, and Han Feng carefully picked the open-source flowers. Han Lin, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to get open-source flowers. How about you 4 petals and 5 petals? Han Lin was helpless. This, isn't it right, what did I do? Han Feng waved his hand. I have said it, without you telling me, I might not even have a single petal. The real situation is that the petals of the open-source flower need to be taken in a certain way, otherwise the effect is only half, but Han Feng has everything to melt the flames. As long as it is refined, These 5 petals are completely equivalent to eating nearly 10 petals of the open source flower. No matter how you look at it, you won't suffer. The two are blood brothers. Since they don't suffer anymore, why not be generous? Okay. Seeing Han Feng's resolute attitude, Han Lin had to take it, but in his heart he got closer to Han Feng. At the same time, he sighed that he was indeed a blood brother. There had been conflicts before, but now he has benefits. We'll still remember him. After the events of Chong Wenjun and Hong Xingbao, Han Lin began to realize the preciousness of blood brothers. Han Lin thought at this time that among the few brothers, the eldest brother Han Mo seemed to be good to Han Feng, at least compared to their previous attitude towards Han Feng. Is it because Han Mo has experienced more? Han Lin nodded subconsciously, absolutely. Han Feng put away the open source flower, and then took away the tokens of Hong Xingbao and others. Han Feng laughed and said, 38 tokens have arrived. There are a lot of people grabbing Hong Xingbao. The two left this place and began to search elsewhere. Soon, in the afternoon the next day, most of the tokens that the two snatched went into Han Feng pockets. In Han Lin's words, I was injured anyway, and I don't have the mind to compete for the ranking of the family trial, as long as there are some tokens that are not ugly on the face. When the two of them grumbled with hunger, the two began to search for a source of water. Eventually, they found a river. Beside the river, there was a young girl lying with scars all over her body. Han Yutong. Han Lin took a nostalgic look, and suddenly screamed. Han Feng came over. The Yufeng mountain range is so big, it is really lucky to meet two people of the same race in one day. Even though both of these people were injured, Han Feng checked, and relaxed. Although there are many wounds, they are not fatal, but more bleeding remains. In other words, he fainted due to excessive blood loss. The two treated Han Yutong's wound, and they stood by Han Yutong's side while grilling meat. Han Yutong was awakened by the smell of barbecue. Wake up! A faint voice sounded. Han Yutong glanced intently. Han Feng. Hey, there is me. Han Lin shouted unwillingly from the side. Han Yutong opened his mouth, and finally said, Did you two save me? Han Feng curled his lips. Who else is there besides us? If it is from another family, it would be nice not to take the opportunity to kill you. You were injured and fainted for so long. You are not suitable for barbecue. I cooked meat and mushroom soup for you. You can drink some. Thank you. Han Yutong took a few sips and thanked Han Feng. After the three of them ate and drank enough, Han Feng asked, What happened? With your strength, it is estimated that among those who participated in the trial, you can rank in the top 10. Han Yutong's face changed drastically at this time. No, I almost forgot. I was injured by Chong Wenhua's attack. In order to save me, Han Ru took the initiative to take away Chong Wenhua and Han Feng. You must help Han Ru. With Han Ru's strength, I am afraid that it has reached the limit so far. Han Lin was surprised. Chong Wenhua. Is that amazing? Even Sister Ru is not an opponent. Han Yutong smiled bitterly. Indeed, I don't know how Chong Wenhua cultivated. He actually entered the late stage of the mortal stage, and has begun to condense his inner strength into attribute Junqi, at least 20 to 30% completed. If Chong Wenhua still hides his strength, it is estimated that half of it is possible. How is it possible that I entered the late mortal stage when I was less than 15 years old, and I also gathered so many attributes of true energy? Is this Chong Wenhua a low-grade first-class qualification or even a middle-grade qualification? Han Lin shook his head abruptly with a look of disbelief. Han Yutong looked sad. I don't want to believe it either, but it's true. Han Feng thoughtfully. There are some forces behind the Chong family who are helping each other. I think you two also know this. If there is support from behind, Chong Wenhua's cultivation is not incomprehensible. When I met Chong Wenjun yesterday, he had already opened up 6 main lines. The last time I met, he had only 4 main lines. It is now certain that the force behind the Chong family is at least a mysterious level force. Han Lin and Han Yutong were startled, and stopped talking. Han Feng suddenly stood up, patted the soil on his trouser legs, and said to Han Lin, Han Lin, you will take care of Han Yutong, I will go to Han Ru. Han Yutong, you show me the direction where Han Ru left. Han Yutong pointed in one of the directions. It's here. Han Feng rushed away suddenly. Han Yutong is worried. Han Lin, do you think Sister Han Fengru will be fine? Han Lin touched his head. How do I know that it is a martial artist in the late mortal stage after all? But whether it is Han Feng or Sister Ru, they are basically close to the peak cultivation base of the middle mortal stage. Even if it is not the same, it should be possible to escape. Quote. Somewhere in the Yufeng Mountains, a woman in a yellow shirt rushed for her life, stained with a lot of blood. After, a shadow followed either quickly or slowly. Hey, Han Ru, you can't run, why not stop and have fun with Ben Shao? The woman in the yellow shirt, that is, Han Ru, said twice, beast. Chong Wenhua's face became cold from the back. Smelly girl, it's just looking for death, dare to say that this young man is a beast. The shadow line flashes. A few shadows passed by, and Chong Wenhua had already intercepted Han Ru. Han Ru's expression was incredible. Why is it so fast? Is there such a big gap between the late fan stage and the middle stage? Chong Wenhua smiled, very proud. You reading www.yuakanshu.com. This is Ben Shao's footwork type martial arts. Basically, I wait for the shadow of the martial arts to flash. How about it? If you are from the Shao, Ben Shao doesn't mind giving you this footwork type martial arts. Chong Wenhua thought in his heart. Although Xuanmingzong's human-level martial arts are not allowed to be passed down, the basic martial arts are different. It's just a mere flash of shadow. As long as I want, brother can pick out better martial arts and give it to me. When the eldest brother breaks through to the Zan order in the future, his position in the Zanming sect will greatly increase, and he will give the martial skills of the upper, middle and lower ranks to some people in the family. Zanming sect will not say anything. Han Ru was unmoved, looking at Chong Wenhua coldly. Chong Wenhua's expression also condensed. Toast and not eat fine wine, stinky girl, it's the same if you kill you directly. Nine Shadows Palm. Although Han Ru's face has not changed, she is actually extremely angry in her heart. 6 Yang Fingers. Chong Wenhua popped up with a finger. Han Ru's blood spurted out a puff, and her entire shoulder could no longer be used. Han Ru's right shoulder was poked a hole by Chong Wenhua with one finger, blood flowed. Chong Wenhua sneered and approached. After suffering such a serious injury, I want to see how you resist. Chong Wenhua directly pressed Han Ru under her body. Han Ru found that her hands were weak, and a touch of despair rose in her heart. Is it possible that her innocence will be ruined here? No, she will never allow it. Internal energy surged. Han Ru used all she could use, and her right knee was an upright. What? A sound similar to the killing of a pig sounded. Chong Wenhua's face was blue, curled up like a shrimp, and covered the injured part with both hands tightly. Damn, you damn. Chong Wenhua has blue veins on his face, and roars at Han Ru. At this moment, Chong Wenhua no longer has any thoughts about Han Ru, just thinking about cutting Han Ru thousands of times to vent his hatred. This is the root of a man. If you are not careful, you will not enjoy any happiness in the future. But Han Ru looked at him mockingly, without any fear. Chong Wenhua was angry at first, and then he noticed something was wrong, but then there was a wave of internal energy. Without even thinking about it, Chong Wenhua slapped back with a palm. Bone breaker. The cold voice sounded, and Chong Wenhua was shocked to discover that a violent internal energy impacted his body. If it was not stopped, the bones in the body would be torn apart by this internal energy. Drink. In desperation, Chong Wenhua yelled coldly. His majestic internal energy exploded, and more than half of his attribute infuriating energy exploded out of his own power. Soon, Chong Wenhua immediately let go, backing back again and again. At this time, Chong Wenhua also saw Han Feng. This kid is not dead yet. Could it be? Thinking of a certain possibility, Chong Wenhua's heart sank, and his gaze toward Han Feng was full of murderous intent. The pain in his wrist made Chong Wenhua frown. The watch looks fine, but the bones inside are injured and the attack power is greatly reduced. Damn it, careless, with my current physical condition, even if the attribute chi has condensed 70% of the internal strength cultivation base, the combat power is only equivalent to the ordinary attribute junchi condensed about 40% of the internal strength martial artist. Han Feng here is also very shocked. Bone Crusher has cultivated to the perfect state. Han Feng has already realized the power of Bone Crusher, and many opponents were completely killed when he caught him. But this guy in front of him, obviously he grabbed his wrist, but only slightly injured him. Although the bone crusher is strong, the gap between me and Chong Wenhua is quite large. It seems that the bone crusher also has certain limitations. It's because I think it's bad. What the bone smasher said is just basic martial arts, I take it too seriously. The gap of the internal strength repairing base greatly reduces the effect of the bone crusher. Shook his hand. Han Feng's palm was a little stiff. This Chong Wenhua's condensed attribute is infuriating, probably ice attribute, otherwise my palm won't feel a bitter chill. Warriors cannot practice cultivation techniques that exceed the mortal ranks before the late mortal ranks. The exercises that surpass the ordinary ranks, that is, the exercises that surpass the basic exercises, have their own attributes. Once you practice the attribute exercises above the human level, the result is that the attribute junchi condensed in the body is different from the cultivation. The cultivation base is abolished at a lighter level. If it is more serious, the attribute cultivation method of cultivation and the condensed attribute junchi are just the opposite. For example, fire and water, the whole person may die in an explosion. Therefore, the martial artist generally condenses more than half of the attribute junchi after reaching the end of the ordinary stage. After the attribute of the attribute junchi is determined, he will choose the corresponding attribute cultivation method to practice. This is also the reason why the cultivation speed of the mortal martial artists is not fast, the basic exercises are too basic. Of course, some powerful forces, like heaven-level forces or top-level earth-level forces, have special methods to determine the physical attributes of martial artists, and they can choose attribute techniques from the beginning, without worrying about follow-up issues. Han Feng, no matter what he used to be, since practicing the Nine Flames different fire art, Han Feng's body has been slowly transformed into a fire attribute physique, and in the end he can only condense the fire attributed true energy. Han Feng chuckled softly. It's really fun. The fire and ice attributes are infuriating, but they are inherently hostile. Han Ru slowly walked to Han Feng's side and looked at Chong Wenhua warily. Regardless of the relationship between the two before, now facing Chong Wenhua, they from the Han family must unite together. Chong Wenhua looked at Han Feng coldly. Boy, I didn't expect you to live till now. Tell me, how is my fourth brother now? Han Feng replied. Since you have already guessed it, why bother to ask? Chong Wenhua's expression became even colder. Kill my fourth brother, and I will be buried with him. The shadow line flashes. Chong Wenhua moved and disappeared in front of Han Feng and Han Ru. Han Feng's internal energy surged, and when he noticed a gust of wind coming from the left, he immediately attacked with Ningchao Gong. Condensing claw power. 9 shadows palm. 6 yang fingers. Bang bang. The three confronted each other, and Chong Wenhua was hit by the combined force of Han Feng and Han Ru and back again, his fingers hurt. But Han Feng and Han Ru are not comfortable either. After all, more than half of Chong Wenhua's internal energy was condensed into attribute junchi, or ice attribute junchi. The cold breath poured into Han Feng and Han Ru, making their bodies stiff and slowing down greatly. Han Feng's heart moved, and the mortal fire in his body rose up, and his stiffness quickly returned to normal, but Han Feng did not behave differently, and made the same movements following Han Ru's performance. Chong Wenhua stopped her body, and rushed towards Han Feng and Han Ru again with a grin. Every time they touch each other, the innocent ice attribute freezes Han Feng and Han Ru once. Gradually, Han Ru's hands are frozen. www.mtlnovel.com. Juing palm can't even exert 60% of its power. Chong Wenhua suddenly laughed out loud. How are you two feeling now? Is it not smooth? Even if Ben suffers from your conspiracy, it won't take much effort to take you down. Chong Wenhua suddenly flashed into the middle of the two of them, kicked Han Ru away, and Han Ru spit out blood. When Chong Wenhua suddenly slapped Han Feng with a palm, a sense of danger suddenly rose. Immediately, Chong Wenhua was horrified to find that red flames suddenly ignited around Han Feng's body. The dense flame wrapped Han Feng's palm, forming a larger red flame, which was slapped with a palm. Impossible, this is a mortal fire, and it seems to be close to the middle-grade mortal fire. How can a mere mortal rank martial artist condense the mortal fire, or close to the middle-grade mortal fire? Chong Wenhua yelled frantically and died. Unwilling to believe everything in front of me. Fan Huo is divided into low-grade common fire, middle-grade common fire, high-grade common fire, and best common fire according to its grade. The mortal fire condensed by the human rank martial artist is only a lower grade level. As the martial artist's cultivation base increases, the power of the mortal fire gradually increases. If you want to raise the rank of ordinary fire, you need some specific fire attribute spirit objects to refine. Otherwise, even a heavenly martial artist, relying on the mortal fire enhanced by the cultivation base, can at most reach the mid-level peak. The first level of Han Feng's 9 Flames different fire art, the ordinary fire is extraordinary, even if it is a mortal rank, it is no less than a low-grade ordinary fire. At this moment, Han Feng's inner strength cultivation base is close to the late stage of the fan, and the power of the fire has greatly increased, and it is already close to the middle grade. Once Han Feng enters the late stage of the fan stage, condensing the true energy of the fire attribute, Fan Huo will directly rise to the middle grade. Stepped into the human level, the 2 mortal fires condensed, and it was able to directly enter the ranks of the high-grade mortal fire. Even if the 9 Flames and different fire art is extraordinary, if you want to raise the mortal fire to the highest grade, you still need the fire attribute spirit thing, and finally break through the second layer, generating a fire beyond the highest grade mortal fire. 2 palms, one is covered with raging red flames, and the other is white. Crashed. Kai. Chi. The flame on Han Feng's palm was continuously frozen by the ice gas, and then was broken by the flame later. The red flame constantly changes between red and red-blue. And Chong Wenhua's palm, even if it was wrapped in ice, gradually showed signs of being burned. In the end, it was still Han Feng's red-colored Fanha even better. Chong Wenhua's condensed ice energy is just a simple ice attribute true energy, which is essentially different from the ice energy generated after entering the human level. Is like fire attribute innocent energy and common fire, it is a qualitative difference. If the strength of Wenhua's inner strength is much better than Han Feng, the previous palm is enough to melt Chong Wenhua's palm. Boom! A huge impact was blasted from the palms of the 2 to the surroundings. The 2 backed back again and again. Han Feng backed a dozen steps, but Chong Wenhua backed more than 20 steps. Han Feng stopped his body, the fire circulated in his body, and soon the ice chi in his palm was released. And no matter how Chong Wenhua stimulates the ice attribute junchi in his body, he can't make the burned parts return to normal. Han Ru on the side of spit out another mouthful of blood, which made him feel much better. Looking up at Han Feng and Chong Wenhua, Han Ru couldn't hide the shock in her eyes. Never mind Chong Wenhua, after all, more than half of his internal energy has been condensed into attribute junchi, but what cultivation is Han Feng? That is the middle stage of the mortal rank, and even the mortal fire that can be produced by the human rank is mastered. For the first time, Han Ru admitted in her heart that she is not as good as Han Feng. Chong Wenhua looked savage. No wonder I can kill the 4th brother, I really have the ability. Han Feng just looked at Chong Wenhua blankly. At this moment, Chong Wenhua had a retreat. Chong Wenhua knew that Han Feng had a common fire. Even if the difference in internal strength between the 2 was quite huge, it was enough to make Han Feng and him on the same level. Even killed him. Before encountering Han Feng, this was something Chong Wenhua had never thought of. Throughout the family trials, being able to get through the 6 main veins is considered to be at the pinnacle, and it is even rarer to get through the 7 main veins. Chong Wenhua thought that he had entered the late stage of the ordinary stage and swallowed a lot of 3rd and 4th level medicines to condense more than half of the internal strength cultivation into the attribute junchi. No one in the entire family trial was his opponent. He participated in the family trial. People, no matter who they are, were lambs to be slaughtered. The appearance of Han Feng completely shattered Chong Wenhua's dream. Chong Wenhua looked at Han Feng vigilantly, and said softly, Han Feng, our 2 strengths are equal. If we lose both here, we will only make others cheaper. Don't forget, the distance trial is over. One day. Why don't we take a step back, you take Han Ru and I will leave. The Xuanming sect will send people to our people's mid-city to test our generation in half a year. How will we compete again then? Han Feng did not let go. If you want to be beautiful, if you want to leave, at least keep the token you got. A trace of anger flashed across Chong Wenhua's face. Han Feng, don't have too much appetite. Give him all the tokens, what a joke, doesn't it mean that his 2 days of hard work are useless? Han Feng condensed a basketball-sized red fireball in his hands, and said coldly, although you have condensed the attribute Qi, after all, you have not entered the human level. It is completely incomparable with the ice energy of the human level, and you can't let the ice gas out of your body. Long-range attack. But I have already condensed the mortal fire and can attack from a distance. You think the two of us are comparable, but I think I can kill you completely. Chong Wenhua's face turned white. Indeed, his ice attributes are still different from that of ice. Gritted his teeth, Chong Wenhua gave in, only handing over half of the tokens. Han Feng also agreed. Finally, Chong Wenhua handed Han Feng 30 tokens. Han Feng frowned, and suddenly threw the fireball in his hand. Chong Wenhua waved his hand to resist. Boom! Chong Wenhua's face was ashamed of being blown up, and he vomited a mouthful of blood. Chong Wenhua yelled, Han Feng, how can you not be creditworthy, and make me anxious, it's a big deal. Han Feng said coldly, Chong Wenhua, don't treat me as a fool. With your cultivation and dominance, could you only get 60 tokens in 2 days? Chong Wenhua's face was blue and white, and he took out more than 30 yuan and gave it to Han Feng. This time is half of the truth, you know, the last day of struggle was the fiercest, and I only got more than 120 yuan in these 2 days. Chong Wenhua said in a bad mood. If you are no longer satisfied, I don't mind playing with you again. Chong Wenhua has already made an attack. This time, Han Feng didn't say anything. You go, I promise the appointment in half a year. Han Feng had already learned from the senior family members that if they wanted to resist the mysterious power behind the Chong family, the Han family and the Han family would also have to take up a mysterious power. The Zanming sect was a good choice. After half a year, Han Feng said he would not give up. Han Feng at this time didn't know that the power behind the Chong family was Zanming Zong. After Chong Wenhua left, Han Ru looked at Han Feng with complicated eyes for a long while, and whispered, thank you, I have noted this life-saving grace. Han Feng smiled heartily, it's all a family, so you don't have to be like this. Hearing this, Han Ru was startled, her stiff face softened a lot. Yes, we are a family, Brother Feng, we will work hard to protect the Han family in the future. With a word of Brother Feng, Han Ru completely admitted Han Feng. At this time, Han Feng suddenly said in a deep voice, Sister Ru, let's go. Han Ru didn't know why Han Feng's expression would become dignified, but she also knew that things were not easy, so she immediately followed Han Feng and left. On the way, Han Feng finally explained the reason. Sister Ru, don't look at my fanha, but fanha is a flame that can only be used by human-level strong people. I am only in the middle of the fan level, and I don't even have the peak of the middle level. Achieve, how can the consumption of ordinary fire be average? To be honest, using fanha, my attack power has surpassed Chong Wenhua, but I can only use it twice now. 2 times are not enough to kill Chong Wenhua. Once fanha is gone, I will use Chong Wenhua's inner strength cultivation, killing us too extremely relaxed. Chong Wenhua is not an idiot, and it won't take long for him to react. Han Ru realized that the matter was serious and immediately accelerated. For Chong Wenhua, Han Feng had intended to kill. Like Chong Wenhua didn't expect Han Feng to be so powerful, and Han Feng didn't expect Chong Wenhua's inner strength cultivation. To Chong Wenhua, Han Feng was sure to injure, but absolutely not sure to kill. Chong Wenhua's inner strength cultivation is high and deep, close to the high stage of the late fan stage, urging the icing attribute to continue, but his Han Feng can't do it. In the end, Chong Wenhua made a concession, and Han Feng secretly made a concession. On the other side, Chong Wenhua left not long, and suddenly reacted, no, I was fooled. In the middle of the mortal stage, the mortal fire cannot be urged several times. As long as I can resist the past, Han Feng and Han Ru are the fish on my chopping board. I hope they will not be far away. Soon, Chong Wenhua went to the place where they were fighting before, but unfortunately. Chong Wenhua's face was pale, full of rage. Asshole, asshole. Han Feng, don't let me meet you, otherwise I will kill you. Han Feng's quick departure, like running away, made Chong Wenhua more sure of his previous guess. Without mentioning how Chong Wenhua was furious, Han Feng and Han Ru finally made peace with Han Yutong and Han Lin. The four separated on the morning of the third day. The four knew that Chong Wenhua would not let them go easily, and they were all cautious. They would rather have a few tokens than enter a crowded place so as not to run into Chong Wenhua. In the end, the third day was spent safely. On the afternoon of the third day, one by one teenagers began to walk towards the exit. The city lord and the patriarchs of the major families have long been waiting there. The first batch of teenagers who came out were all teenagers on the edge of Yufeng Mountain. These teenagers were robbed of tokens, and they couldn't compete with others. They didn't want to be killed by powerful people, so they could only stay on the outer edge of Yufeng Mountain. The city lord and the patriarch participated in more than one family trial, and naturally knew that there was basically nothing in the first batch. Therefore, the city lord and a group of patriarchs did not pay too much attention to these dejected teenagers. These people are no accident, and in the future they will stop at the limit of the late stage of the fan, and it will be a great breakthrough to the first and two stars of the human stage. One after another, many young people came out, but none of the three major families. For this, Santo and Han Yu and others had already expected it. As the elites of the three major families, among more than 1,000 people, they are all figures on the upper level of the pyramid. It is possible to fight against level 2 or even level 3 monsters. Naturally, they will not be outside the Yufeng mountain range, and they are likely to enter the outer periphery. The surrounding, even some bold, or a few people united, has entered the edge of the inner surrounding. Is in that position, wanting to return, naturally it takes a little longer than others. The third and fourth batch of teenagers already have tokens in their hands, some have 1 or 2, and some have 2 or 3. There are thousands of people participating in the family trial, but less than 100 can actually get tokens. At this time, young elites from three major families have come out. First of all, the Chong family and the Hong family. The best, with more than 10 tokens in their hands, is an elite of the Chong family. As for the Hong family, because they spent the most resources on Hong Xingbao, the most of the Hong family members who came out were 4 or 5 yuan. Is not much more than other medium-sized family elites. Seeing this, the patriarch of the Chong family couldn't help but mocked. Patriarch Hong, your results this year are not good. If this continues, the Hong family will not be able to retain the position of the three big families. Patriarch Hong gave a cold snort and did not answer. The hopes of their Hong family are all in Hong Xingbao. What if the other Hong family's elites have poor performance? Anyway, it was already expected. Patriarch Chang's face is even more weird and disdainful. City Lord frowned slightly. Although the three major families were hostile, Patriarch Chong would not be so ironic before. It was too straightforward. How could the city lord know that in the eyes of the Chong family, the Han family and the Hong family would be annihilated in at most half a year, so naturally they felt that there was nothing to tear their faces. The city lord suddenly smiled and said, Patriarch Chong, listening to you say that, you are very confident in your family. Patriarch Chong didn't dare to be arrogant when facing the city lord, and immediately whispered, Return to the city lord, it is indeed the case. The city lord's eyes were playful. Oh. Is there a middle-grade genius in your family? Patriarch Chong chuckled in a low voice, this is not true. Chong Wenhua, our Chong family, went out of the city to practice a few days ago. With some opportunities, he is already a master at the late stage of fan level. Patriarch Chong naturally wouldn't say that their family had climbed into Zanmingzong. Otherwise, it will only cause the displeasure of the city owner. Late Fanji, Han Yu and Patriarch Hong glanced at each other, and gasped. The two patriarchs are worried. In the late fan stage, once they meet the elite of their family, they are likely to. Patriarch Hong and other high-ranking clan members are upset, watching the exit nervously one by one, hoping that the next boy who will come out is their family Hong Xingbao. Unfortunately, every time I look forward to it, I get disappointed. This makes the Hong family more uneasy. The city lord took a deep look at Patriarch Chong. He stopped speaking, but made Patriarch Chong secretly wipe a cold sweat. Time goes by every minute and every second. Basically, only the elites of the three major families have yet to return. At present, only 4 elites of the Hong family have returned, and there is nothing else. This makes the head of the Hong family and some high-level faces pale. The Han family is more disturbed than the Hong family, www.mtlnovel.com. So far, only one Han family has come back. Han Feng, Han Lin and so on, nothing happened. The four brothers of Han Tianxing were tense, but their trembling hands revealed their anxiety and fear. It's coming out. Someone is coming out again. Suddenly an exclamation came from the crowd. Everyone stared at the exit. Not long after, three figures appeared in the sight of everyone. The Han family was suddenly overjoyed. These three figures are impressively Han Lin, Han Ruanruan and Han Yutong. Great, you are fine. Han Yu breathed a sigh of relief, and patted Han Lin and the others on the shoulders with excitement. God knows how panicked he was when he knew that Chong Wenhua's inner strength cultivation was the late stage of the fan. At this moment, Han Yu doesn't care about tokens, and the results will not be achieved, as long as Han Lin and others are fine. Patriarch, this is our token. Outside, Han Lin and others did not call Grandpa Han Yu, but Patriarch. Han Yu calmed down and immediately started to investigate. The one with the most tokens is Han Ru, with dozens or hundreds of dollars. Han Yutong and Han Lin also each have a lot of tokens. Han Yutong is more than 50 yuan, and Han Lin is more than 30 yuan. Such a result, for now, is enough to rank in the top 10. But even so, the tokens that everyone added together only occupies a fraction of $1,000, and most of them did not appear. Everyone was in a panic, and more than a half of the tokens did not appear, but a group of teenagers had already returned. As for those who haven't come back, they are slightly stronger and their relatives still have some thoughts. Maybe they are lagging behind. Maybe they will come back later. But if the strength is poor, there is no need to expect it is 100% dead. Could it be that most of this was divided up by a few people? How strong these people are. Note that Han Ru, a martial artist who has opened up the 7 main veins, is only about 100 yuan. The usual number 1 is only this one, and it may even be worse. The usual first place, but there are more than 200 yuan. The Han family is still waiting, but Han Lin gritted his teeth. Patriarch, except for Han Feng, don't look forward to it. Almost all the others are killed by Chong Wenhua. Just a few of us, we almost died. Han Yu and others' complexions changed drastically, and they were about to ask the whole story. There was another noise among the crowd. This time, it is Chong Wenhua from the Chong family. Patriarch Chong said with joy, "Haha, most of the remaining tokens are probably in Chong Wenhua's hands." Patriarch Chong is full of trust in Chong Wenhua Fanji's later cultivation. But then Patriarch Chong found something was wrong, and Chong Wenhua walked along, with a gloomy face and a cold air all over his body, so strangers should not enter. The noise of the crowd gradually subsided under this cold air. "Wenhua, what happened?" Patriarch Chong frowned and asked. Chong Wenhua didn't say anything, but just threw the huge bag in his hand to Patriarch Chong. Patriarch Chong felt a thud in his heart. With such a large capacity, it would last 300 or 400, and it would never be 600 or 700 as imagined. Patriarch Chong opened it up and counted it down. The result was only more than 310 yuan. This is completely different from what Patriarch Chong had hoped for in the middle of his heart. In an instant, Patriarch Chang's expression turned gloomy. How is it possible? With the inner strength of culture, it can't be just that. Patriarch Chong cursed in his heart. Soon, Patriarch Chong thought of Chong Wenhua's gloomy expression and couldn't help squinting his eyes. Han Lin chuckled here. Thanks to Han Feng, first Chong Wenhua lost more than 60 yuan, and Chong Wenhua was injured. It became more difficult to **** tokens. Otherwise, Chong Wenhua's number of tokens is it may exceed 400 yuan or even more. Han Yu asked at this moment, and Han Ru came one by one. Han Yu suddenly became angry. Damn Changja, he want. Han Yu couldn't say the next thing, but Han Ru comforted, Patriarch don't need to be angry. Anyway, Chong Wenhua didn't get well, thanks to Brother Feng. The four Han Tianxing brothers looked at each other and all smiled. Among the next generation, Han Ru has the worst attitude towards Han Feng, and now even Han Ru has admitted Han Feng, which couldn't be better. The Han family's conversation did not deliberately lower their voices, so the Chong family and Hong family on both sides and even the city lord heard it. In an instant, everyone looked at Chong Wenhua with weird eyes, and the Hong family's eyes were even more contemptuous. Patriarch Chong looked worriedly between Chong Wenhua's legs, fearing that something was really wrong with Chong Wenhua. Chong Wenhua glanced at Han Lin coldly, full of suffocation, and then gritted his teeth and said to Patriarch Chong, "Don't worry, Patriarch, I'm not serious." Patriarch Chong was relieved. But soon, Patriarch Chong frowned. If all the remaining tokens are obtained by Han Feng, then the first place this time is not necessarily. Chong Wenhua said coldly at this time, "Patriarch, the fourth brother was killed by that Han Feng." "What, Wen Jun is dead?" Patriarch Chang's face suddenly changed, and then Patriarch Chong turned his head and sneered, "Han Yu, your Han Yu killed our Wen Jun Chong, you must give me this matter." "An explanation." "Explain." "I'm afraid your Chong family wanted to give us an explanation from the Han family. Our Han family is a good son, but we lost his life at the hands of your Chong Jia Chong Wenhua." Han Yu also roared. "The mere **** is worthy of being on the same level as our Wen Jun. If you die, you die." Patriarch Chong looked disdainful. The entire Han family is a wasteful look. Is too arrogant. Is too arrogant. Hong's family is watching the excitement at the moment. Han Lin narrowed his eyes. Sure enough, as Han Feng said, this Hong family is using our Han family as a gunman. Suddenly, Han Lin's heart moved, and he shouted to Patriarch Hong, "Grandpa Hong, many people died in Chong Wenhua's hands. Hong Xingbao hasn't returned yet, maybe." As soon as these words came out, the Hong family was shocked, their eyes looking at the Chong family and Chong Wenhua were extremely unfriendly. And Chong Wenhua, this time the family trial killed a lot of people, there were more than 100. Chong Wenhua always regarded them as ants, and few would have an impression. As a result, Chong Wenhua didn't know whether he killed Hong Xingbao. But anyway, in the face of the Hong family's troubles, Chong Wenhua didn't have the need to explain. From Chong Wenhua's point of view, the explanation is to be subdued. In the view of the Hong family, it is the Chong family that does not take the death of their Hong family elite into their eyes. Thinking of the **** in the Chong family, the Hong family was furious, and the Mo Jing family thought that the elites of their Hong family were also rubbish. Seeing this, Han Lin was secretly happy. Hong Xingbao, if you know that you are dead, you will be used by me. I wonder if you will crawl out of the soil angrily. The three big families are facing each other, and there is a tense atmosphere around them. The other small and medium-sized families shut their mouths for fear of being affected. HMPH, this city lord said before that no fighting is allowed here. Could it be that the three of them want to defy? The city lord rang out with a cold drink. Han Yu and others immediately woke up, fearing afterwards. Annoyed the city owner, especially the city owner who still has a lot of support, it would be dangerous. Immediately, the three patriarchs snorted to each other and stopped targeting. At this time, Han Feng finally walked out of the exit. When Han Lin saw Han Lin, he immediately shouted. Han Feng was about to say hello, and his whole body was cold, and a murderous sight focused on Han Feng. Han Feng's heart sank, and he turned his head to see that he was the head of the Chong family. It seems that the Chong family knows that Chong Wenjun was killed by me, but what about it? The city lord is here, and the Chong family doesn't dare to be presumptuous. Han Feng walked to Han's house step by step. See Patriarch. Ha ha ha, good. Han Yu stroked his beard and laughed. After Han Feng greeted his father Han Tiancheng and three uncles, he handed the token bag to the city lord. The city lord asked someone to count, and it turned out that it was nearly 100 yuan more than Chong Wenhua. Han Yu and others are even more delighted. The number one is undoubtedly Han Feng. Chong Wenhua stared at Han Feng angrily. Without the 60 tokens he had given, his first place would be his. Is simply hateful. Han Feng, I won't let you go. Chong Wenhua shouted wildly in his heart again. Ha ha, the Han family boy, the city lord announced that this time the first family trial is you. In 3 days, come to the city lord's mansion to choose martial arts. As for Ren Yuan Guo, it will be given to you at that time. Now you will go back to your house and rest for 3 days. City lord said with a smile. After 3 days of trials, everyone looked tired. "Thank you, City Lord." Han Feng immediately bent over and thanked him. When left, Han Feng glanced at Chang's family and confronted Chong Wenhua's gaze. Both knew from each other's eyes that if they had a chance, they would not let each other go, they would never die. On the way back, the Han family looked heavy after the joy passed. Although Han Feng won the first place, the Han family's loss was not small. Only half of the 10 people who participated in the trial returned, and the other half fell in the Yufeng mountain range, and the Han family believed that most of them were probably killed by Chong Wenhua. Due to their anger at Chang's family and Chong Wenhua, the Han's family said that Chong Wenjun was killed by Han Feng. Han Yu sighed for a long time, and said, "Han Feng, you are about to break through to the late stage of the mortal stage. During this time, you can practice with peace of mind. When you determine your physical attributes, come to me. Our Han family's top-ranking exercises are for you to choose." Han Tiancheng and others were startled at first, but then they felt normal. The achievement of taking the first place in the family trial with Han Feng, as well as the talent and strength shown, should indeed be matched with the best exercises of the Han family. Han Feng hurriedly said yes, but in his heart he thought to himself, with the 9 flames and different fire art, where else is it necessary? The group returned to Han's house, and news of Han Feng's first victory soon spread throughout Han's house. After a while, the Han family was boiling. The Han family has been based in Renjiangcheng over the years, from the initial hardships to now being based on the 3 major families, but the best result in the family trial is the second place, and it has never been the first. This time, it's a long face. This is second. The most important thing is the increase in the prestige of the Han family. There will be many talents and strong people who will join the Han family, and the strength of the Han family will definitely increase. Ji Yuan got the news and looked fortunate. Fortunately, they looked back in time and didn't fight Han Feng, otherwise. Just thinking about the consequences, Ji Yuan was in a cold sweat. Cuba looked in a trance. This man who was worse than him and worse than him 2 months ago, has come to such a point at this moment. And he himself is still wandering in the middle stages of the early fan stage. Not to mention the subordinates of these families such as Gubaguan, the high-level elders of the Han family are first-rate, and they also elevated Han Feng to a very high position. The great elder even proposed that Han Feng be listed as a candidate for the patriarch. Han Yu had already agreed to this proposal. Was later learned by Han Feng, and Han Feng immediately pushed back. With the 9 flame sky fire tower, Han Feng's eyes are on the entire Great Jin Kingdom. Even outside the Great Jin Kingdom. As long as his cultivation reaches a certain level, Han Feng will definitely not stay in Han's house and stay in the city. Traveling is inevitable. If you become the head of the patriarch, you will be trapped in the city, which is not what Han Feng wanted. After Han Feng told Han Yu truthfully, Han Yu had a complicated complexion and sighed for a long time, but in the end Han Feng was removed from the patriarch candidate. Han Feng, who was eliminated from the patriarchal candidate, was inside the 9 flame sky fire tower. The 5 petals of Kaikaihua were put into the melting pot of all things by Han Feng. Refine. With a low shout, the flames in Han Feng's hands suddenly increased, and the raging flames burned under the melting pot of all things. Kaiyuan flower is slightly more difficult to refining than inferior spirit stones. It took a full day for Han Feng to refine all the petals into a red source liquid. Looking at the red source liquid, Han Feng was slightly lost. I don't know how far these source liquids will increase my strength. After 1 day, the internal strength of Han Feng's 7th main channel was completely stabilized. The next day, Han Feng successfully opened up the 8 main veins, and has reached the peak of the mid-fan stage. The next step is to accumulate internal energy to the peak of the 8 main veins, and then condense internal energy, turning the solid internal energy into attribute Junqi. Only 1 day's work did not make Han Feng's 8 main channels of internal strength completely stabilized. If you don't pay attention, you will still have some breath. But Han Feng doesn't pay attention to this anymore. The next day, Han Feng got up and walked towards the city lord's mansion. Outside the city lord's mansion. Before Han Feng spoke, a captain of the guard outside the house immediately stepped forward and said with a smile on his face, "Hee, this little brother is the legendary Han Feng, the little brother Han." The city lord has been waiting for the little brother early in the morning, is you. Han Feng was flattered, and he never thought that the city lord would wait for him early in the morning. But Han Feng quickly guessed that this is probably what the captain of the guard was talking about, not necessarily true. Then I will trouble the captain to lead. Han Feng arched his hands. The captain of the guard still smiled, and brought Han Feng into the city lord's mansion, where the lord lived. Boy, see the city lord. Han Feng said respectfully as soon as he saw the city lord. At this moment, Han Feng really believes that the city lord has been waiting for him early in the morning, which makes Han Feng a little surprised. For no reason, why is the city lord so good to him? You can think about it carefully. Regardless of the purpose of the city lord, the first thing to get the martial arts of the lower rank of the human element fruit is the first. The city lord laughed and picked up Han Feng. Kid Han is too far-sighted. If you don't mind, just call me Uncle Son. This. Han Feng looked hesitant. www.mtlnovel.com. Seeing this, the city lord knew that Han Feng was so enthusiastic about him a little bit suspicious, and then said, Hee hee, Han Shaozi, don't worry, I will treat you. There is no malice. The reason why this is true to you is because of your kid's mother. My mother. Does the city lord know my mother? Han Feng was a little surprised for a moment, but at the same time a little surprised. The city lord touched his nose mockingly. I know your mother, but your mother doesn't necessarily know me. In short, your mother is very strong, and your mother's family is also very strong, so you should be my mother who wants to cheat you. Understanding the reason, Han Feng certainly had some doubts, but he also called Uncle Son. If he didn't call, he just didn't know what was good or bad. No matter how good the mother is, the Han family is indeed in charge of returning to the city, isn't it? The city lord heard the word, Uncle Son, his eyes lit up, and he smiled and said, Han Feng, this is Yuangguo, you won the first one this time. Take it. Ren Yuangguo is a pear-like spirit fruit. As soon as the city lord took it out, the whole room was filled with a delicate fragrance. Han Feng took Ren Yuangguo carefully, as if inside the storage belt suddenly split a few cracks. The city lord took a look and touched his chin. Han Feng, your storage belt is too low level, even Ren Yuangguo can't bear it. Let's do this, although my family is not rich, better storage belts can also be used. Come out, here's a new one for you. How embarrassing it is. Even though he understood that the city lord did this to please his mother behind him, Han Feng was still embarrassed for a moment. After all, his mother has never seen him since coming to Han's house. God knows if it will be like this in the future. If this is still the case, isn't it a waste of to please? City lord smiled and said, it's nothing, it's just a mere storage belt. Han Feng remembered the storage bracelet held by the city lord, and no longer refused. A slightly better storage belt can be owned by any profound level force, and even a slightly more powerful human level force can have it, which is not precious. City lord said again, now let me choose martial arts. By the way, Han Feng, what is your physical attribute? I don't know. Han Feng shook his head. I don't know. The city lord looked at Han Feng in surprise and nodded suddenly. Yes, you have been sent to the Han family since you were a child. With the strength of the Han family, you really cannot test your physical attributes. 5-shaped jade, give you a test. 5-shaped jade is a powerful strength used to test the physical attributes of warriors who are not in the late mortal stage. The city lord took out a piece of jade, handed it to Han Feng, and said at the same time, just send the inner strength inside. However, this 5-shaped jade is only the lowest level. It can only detect gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, and the attributes of mutation cannot be detected, nor can some natural sacred bodies. Han Feng took it quickly, even the lowest grade 5-shaped jade was enough for him. After all, he is only a low-grade first-class qualification now, not even a middle grade. It is impossible to be a natural Eucharist. The physical attributes have also been transformed into fire attributes by the 9 flames different fire art. The reason for using the 5-shaped jade to test again is to prevent the city lord from showing any flaws. If he said the fire attribute at the beginning, maybe the city lord would not notice anything at first, but it may not be the same in the future. The inner strength was transferred into the 5-shaped jade. In an instant, the 5-shaped jade burst out with a strong red light. The next moment, the originally dim five-shaped jade suddenly became transparent. Inside the five-shaped jade, there seemed to be a red flame in the five-shaped jade. Burning. The city lord's expression turned weird. Weird, it's okay for the attribute to be fire, but the red light only shines on the whole body of the five-shaped jade, it should be just a low-grade qualification. How can it be possible to have a low-grade qualification, from no internal energy cultivation to the current mid-mortal peak in just 2 months? Han Feng's 8 main veins have not yet completely stabilized the inner strength cultivation base. As the 12-star pinnacle of the human rank, the city lord is a master who only stepped into the profound rank, and he can naturally see it from the internal strength fluctuations leaked by Han Feng. Han Feng's inner strength cultivation at the moment. Wait, the flame in this five-shaped jade is a little different from other fire attributes. It's like a common fire that can only be used by a strong human rank. Is it because of this reason? The city master thought. The test of other mortal martial artists, even the fire attribute, is just a cluster of flames, but Han Feng here is a red flame. Thinking of this, the city lord got closer to Han Feng. Even if you can't pick that one, you can't underestimate the future. Putting away the five-shaped jade, the city lord brought Han Feng to the martial arts pavilion of the city lord mansion. The first floor of the martial arts pavilion is only basic martial arts, now we will go to the second floor. On the second floor, the city lord smiled and said, Han Feng, there are hundreds of lower-grade martial arts here. You choose it, don't worry, come to me when you choose, I will let Captain Li wait for you outside the martial arts pavilion. Captain Li is the captain of the guard who led Han Feng before. Han Feng immediately handed over, thank you Uncle Sun. The city lord waved his hand. No thanks, this is what you deserved, well, you go and choose, I will leave first. Yes. Watching the Lord Sun leave, Han Feng safely provoked martial arts on the second floor of the martial arts pavilion. Not long after, Han Feng exclaimed, the city lord's mansion is really not comparable to the Han family. In terms of the number, the Han family's low-rank martial arts are not comparable to the city lord's mansion. Even in terms of quality, only a small part of the Han family's lower-rank martial arts are at the same level, and here, more than half are at the same level. But if you are at the top of the class, Han Feng couldn't help shook his head. He hasn't noticed it yet. The top martial arts among the lower-rank human ranks are no less inferior to the ordinary middle-rank martial arts, and they are extremely rare among lower-rank human martial arts. The big forces don't know, but here, there are indeed very few, at least Han Feng has not found it. The goal of Han Feng is the top martial arts of the lower rank. If it is only inferior and superior, the Han family also has some, so why not look for it in the city lord's mansion? After more than a day of hard work, Han Feng finally found the top martial arts of the third rank. Between these 3 books, Han Feng hesitated for a long time. These 3 martial arts, no matter which one makes Han Feng extremely greedy, every one of them will be more powerful in the same level. In the end, Han Feng chose one of the martial arts called Xuanyan Chain. This is a martial skill that uses the fire attribute qi in the body to condense into chains, which can be attacked and defended. The mysterious flame chain here has 3 levels, the first level can condense 1 chain, the second level can condense 3 chains, and the third level can condense 6 chains. The more chains, the more powerful it is for attack and defense. It can be said that the Xuanyan chain can attack and defend simultaneously, which is obviously better than other martial arts that focus on attacking or defending. Even, the stronger the fire attribute qi of the condensed profound flame chain, the greater the power of the profound flame chain, and ultimately will completely exceed the power of the original level. But the real reason for Han Feng to choose this martial skill is not the 2 above, but a story proposed by Zhan Yan Lian at the beginning. The master of this story created the mysterious flame chain. Yu reading www.yuekanshu.com once killed a master of the same level in the mysterious rank. As a master of the mysterious rank, how can he cultivate lower-rank martial arts? Han Feng guessed that this mysterious flame chain is not complete, it should be only part of the entire mysterious flame chain martial arts. Captain Li, I'm bothering you. Out of the martial arts pavilion, Han Feng arched his hands towards Captain Li. Captain Li was surprised. Han Feng, so fast. Don't you look for more for a while. Han Feng shook his head. I have found the martial arts that I am satisfied with, so there is no need to waste time. Captain Li said. Well, then let me do it. The Lord's residence. City Lord laughed and said, I wonder what martial skill Han Feng chose. Han Feng handed the excerpt of Xuanyan Chain to the City Lord. The younger generation chose Xuanyan Chain. City Lord was taken aback. Xuanyan Chain. That's an incomplete martial art. When Han Feng heard it, it was so secretly, but he said, ah, on his mouth, expressing his extreme surprise. Starting today, I'm afraid there will be 2 updates every day, one at noon and one at 9 in the evening. The main reason is that the Book of Cabbage is about to pass the word count requirement of the new book list, but so far there is no good recommendation. If you continue, it is estimated that there will be good recommendations. Cabbage's book is also on the new book list. This has a great impact on the performance of the new book. Therefore, until the new book list is 150,000 words, the Cabbage will maintain twice a day, and strive to be on the list. Wait until a good recommendation. City Master Sun was surprised when he saw Han Feng, and he didn't think too much. He explained, this mysterious flame chain was obtained from a thief when I went out a few years ago. At that time, I was already a human level 10-star master, and the opponent was only a human level 9-star, and using this mysterious flame chain, it was not inferior to the human level martial arts. If it were not for the support of the forces behind me, the martial skills of cultivation are not bad, it is not necessarily got that thief. This mysterious flame chain is also peculiar, capable of offensive and defensive, and even the rank of the mortal fire in the warrior's body increases. The power of the mysterious flame chain will also increase, surpassing the level of the mysterious flame chain itself. This kind of effect should be a relatively high martial skill, but it doesn't require a lot of true qi, and it can be used by a human level 1 or 2-star martial artist. You must know that the higher the level of martial arts, the greater the demand for true qi, and the less true qi, it is difficult to perform higher level martial arts anyway. However, there is not much demand for true qi, and it is very difficult to practice. In other words, the martial artist's control of true qi is relatively large. Even if the true qi is not strong, the chains can be condensed, but if you don't control the true qi, the condensed chains are not powerful. Under the synthesis, I have placed him in the ranks of the top martial arts of the lower rank. If it weren't for me to be a human level 12-star, I would only be 1 step short of entering the mysterious stage, and I would not even practice this mysterious flame chain. You will pick it. Han Feng raised his eyebrows. It seemed that he still underestimated the Xuanyan chain. At this time, City Master Sun sighed again. I have studied the mysterious flame chain for a while after I got it. In my estimation, the mysterious flame chain in your hand should be part of the real mysterious flame chain. The complete black flame chain, its own level, should also be included in the black rank martial arts. If it is possible for your kid in the future, go and collect the remaining black flame chain martial arts by yourself. It should be in the Xuanwu Mountains, where I met the thief. Xuanwu Mountain Range. Han Feng thought in his heart, this Xuanwu Mountain Range is not close to Renjiangcheng, which spans 3 or 4 cities. It is said that there are several bandit organizations hidden in this Xuanwu Mountain Range. There are not many strong human ranks, and there are no masters above the 9-star rank. No wonder Sun City Master knew that the Xuanyan chain was not easy and he didn't go to explore it. One might fall somewhere by accident. Han Feng wanted to explore, but he knew it was not now. After talking with the city lord for a long time, Han Feng finally left. After Han Feng left, City Master Sun looked at a certain direction and sneered. Chong family, don't think that you can press on the head of the city lord when you get on the ground, Zanmingzong. If you really provoke Han Feng, you are all over. Others don't know, but he knows. Han Feng's mother didn't ignore Han Feng, but because Han Feng did not show strong strength and talent, she would only suffer humiliation if she went to that family. But it's different now. Said that when Han Feng's mother came up. The Zanming sect is powerful, but it is only for the human city. For that family, the Zanming sect does not even have the qualifications to be seen. Han family, the days just passed by day, nothing big happened, just plain. This kind of day quickly passed 10 days. In these 10 days, Han Feng has long since stabilized the 8 main veins' inner strength, and has initially condensed the fire attribute Junqi, and has entered the late stage of the ordinary stage. This speed made Han Lin and Han Ru wait for a while. At the late fan level stage, one step further is the human level powerhouse. There are fewer than 1,000 people in the middle city. A few more days passed, and Han Feng's aura fluctuated drastically in the 9-flame Skyfire Tower, and it gradually subsided after a long time. Opened his eyes, like a flash of fire. Han Feng smiled slightly. The attribute Qi has condensed close to half. With my current nearly half of the fire attribute Junqi, the power of the common fire has greatly increased, no less than the middle grade common fire. And I have a solid foundation, unlike Chong Wenhua's. Chong Wenhua relied on a large amount of pill to accumulate to the late stage of the mortal stage. It seems to be progressing very quickly, but his body has left a lot of hidden dangers. If he wants to break from the mortal stage to the human stage, he can only rely on the 4th level pill. I'm afraid that it won't work anymore. I must have a medicinal pill of level 4 or higher. Pills of level 4 or higher are also needed by human level powerhouses. It is a waste to use them in the later stages of the mortal level. It is estimated that even 20 to 30% of the medicinal effect cannot be absorbed. After thinking about it, Han Feng entered the time house on the 3rd floor and cultivated the mysterious flame chain. In the past few days, Han Feng will practice here for a period of time every day. Xuanyan chain, attack. Hearing Han Feng's stern shout, in the house of time, a few meters long red chain was suddenly shot out of Han Feng's hand. The chain is a bit vague, and it can only be roughly distinguished from the chain, but the specific pattern on the chain is not clear. Soon, the chains disappeared. Han Feng sighed slightly. The fire attribute Junqi is still too little, and there is internal strength mixed in it. It is too mixed, and the condensed chain is also vague, and the power is straight based on the basic martial arts, which is far from reaching people. The power of lower rank martial arts. And it is only a few meters long, which is far from the dozens of meters and dozens of meters written on the excerpt of the Xuanyan chain. Even just after attacking for that instant, the fire attribute Qi in the body is almost consumed. The mortal rank martial artist really cannot be compared with the human rank martial artist. But soon Han Feng smiled freely. I'm too forceful. Yu reading www.yuakanshu.com. An ordinary mortal level martial artist, who can practice human level martial arts like me, and attack from a distance, even if I only have one black flame chain at the moment. I believe it was enough to kill Chong Wenhua in seconds. Even the 1st-star powerhouse of the ordinary human rank will be seriously injured by my blow. All this is due to the 9 flames' different fire art. The condensed fire attribute innocence is much more solid than ordinary martial artists, otherwise Han Feng would not be able to practice human-level martial arts in the late mortal stage. After completing his training, Han Feng wiped the sweat from his forehead, raised his head and glanced up. His face changed, and the next moment he rose to the 4th level. That's right, it's the 4th floor. The 4th floor of the 9-flame Skyfire Tower is a planting space. Here, you can grow heaven and earth spirit fruit. Relying on the source liquid of the all things melting flame cauldron, you can ripen heaven and earth spirit fruit. The planting space is currently the 1st level. There are only 2 spiritual fields that can grow Lingguo Lingsao. At this moment, the 2 human Yuanguo on the Lingtian are about to mature. In the past 10 days or so, the source fluid of Han Feng's cultivation is made by the condensed flower petals of Kaiyuan. As for the source fluid formed by the condensed spirit stone, it is all used to acquaint the acquaintance. In this continent, although the spirit stone can increase the cultivation base of the martial artist, it is not worth mentioning compared to the heaven and earth spirit fruit. So although it has spent a lot of the source liquid of the spirit stone condensation, it is also worth it. Anyway, he can't refine so many source liquids in a short period of time, and it would be a waste to put them there too much. It's better to use them to ripen the spiritual fruit and cultivate with spiritual fruit.